and a special guest who comes hot in live from where are you at? London.
North London.
And we thought we'd talk about recent events since there's been a lot going on. So, wherever you want to start. So, do you want to introduce yourself? You're new to the show.
My name's Adnan. Basically, I just wanted to, I don't know, I'm interested in a lot of stuff. I love a lot about politics. I love learning a lot about, what's going on in the world. And I think really and truly what's going on in America, Pepe, is a bit worrying to say the least. I mean,
Sucks ass.
it, oh, goodness. I hate to even, I know it must be tiring. I hate to
I
even do
mean,
it.
imagine being surrounded by a lot of retards, and it's like it's really like there's a simple solution, yet people just keep bickering with each other rather than actually having discussions.
Mm,
You have a lot of people that are just they're fighting fascism by being fascists.
yeah, yeah.
So
And it's,
it's the biggest irony. And
what do
I've
they
never
call it?
understood.
What do they call it? The blind leading the blind?
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty much.
Then there's the other parts of that, which is in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He at least has one eye vision. But I hate to even say it in a general way because my sister also does live in America. She lives in Minnesota, and I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, and you were
oh,
speaking to me recently about obviously your concern about that was like the epicenter of the riots, wasn't it?
right, the whole place where George Floyd passed away. Oh,
Exactly.
not passed away. Where he was killed. Where he was murdered. Sorry.
Minneapolis.
Yeah, and seeing the whole kind of thing, the whole protest and the whole thing happened down the road from her. So that was really worrying. I've got 5 nieces over there and a brother-in-law and a bunch of other family. And I don't know, being black in America is always a bit of a worry, but now it seems like with that they've actually kind of passing this law about protesting where um they can actually trying to drive you over. Was it one state, not all over? I think it's the state of Florida,
Hmm.
where they've said that you can actually legally hit protesters if they're mobbing you for your own safety, or other things like giving rights to the police where they're actually kind of, if one person does something violent at a protest, then the entire protest kind of group gets lumped in.
What do they call it when the police they get protections, don't they? Obviously
Yeah,
against.
their unions.
What's the actual policy that protects police in America, Pepe? Do you know?
Isn't it the bill of?
I mean, the thing about police, because the thing is, it's a mixed thing. It depends where they're from. It depends the police department. It depends the union.
Yeah,
that
I
has
really do
the
find that.
politician that um you know pays them. But to be honest, and this was coming from, like, I got this information from someone who and you might have seen him on YouTube. He was this jewel thief, famous jewel thief. He's been in prison. He's seen how messed up the system was in the prison, and he actually became an honorary policeman.
Hmm.
So he's been in both sides of the law, you know. And he was saying how, hey, he hates how policemen are not trained enough. That's a fact. They don't
Well,
have enough training for the shit they do.
they often have they're trained in strange ways as well. Like they get trained up to deal with. I feel like police are trained for like fear response, and like the higher ups are like whipping them up to be like, oh, you don't know, anything could happen, any moment you could just be blown away. So you got to always be on your guard. Like there's got to.
Yeah. And the thing is that's a big possibility, because the reason
Of
why
course, it
cops
is true
don't go
because they have to
because a lot of
deal with
people
like
do shoot
cartels and shit. Yeah, like they deal with some real shit sometimes. Absolutely, but that's why you
And
get the rural cops. Like you were talking about, it really differs between police departments. Like I live half rurally, half city. Like you could go, one direction from my house and it's just fields. Another direction, it's all city. city, you know. So I see both sides of it where you know, the further out I go, the more chill the police are because they really don't have to deal with all that much stuff because people like the occasional thief or the occasional whatever like gets reported, but otherwise they're not dealing with, you know, the shit that the Metropolitan Police in London have to deal with, which is like, you know, the epicenter of the whole of the UK. So anything that happens in the UK happens there first.
Yeah, exactly. And also another thing is cops don't get paid enough. They don't get paid um that much for the amount of work that they have to do because like cops will be hours. Like their shift can be like a big amount of hours.
I think they spend a lot of the money maybe on maybe the wrong things. Then, if we look at it that way, because
Yeah,
they spend a lot of the money on militarization as opposed to maybe getting more staff or getting more training or getting more kind of departments in
yeah.
different
Right.
areas that they wouldn't actually be able to otherwise police because of other reasons. I mean, it's strange that they don't actually even have police that work in the same community live in that
Yeah,
community.
no, that's very dodgy. That's like a war tactic. That was actually a Soviet tactic where they would get officers to basically go and take people to the gulags that they weren't in, like they weren't from the same region, and often it was from a region that had like into like regional conflicts with one another before it became the Soviet Union, and so they would get like a kid that was like victimized by, you know, some tyrant, and then like raise
Yeah.
him up to be an officer, and then he would be sent to go and, like, you know, depose them of their wealth and then send all of their people into the gulags or whatever. And he would be like willfully doing it because he was wronged by these people, and they would like facilitate the revenge. But like I wonder how far it goes in America, but obviously there's like the police culture in America as well. Like they're very it's been said that the police are the biggest gang in America. And it's been known that they've said that to like gang members' faces. Like in the LA riots there were a couple of instances of that where they were like, "Oh, don't you know who you're messing with? We're the biggest gang out there." It's like blatantly out in the open.
Yeah, because you got a lot of people who join the force for the wrong reasons because they know if they go into the
Yep.
academy, um,
They get certain
they're most likely
protections.
to get away. Yeah, they're most likely to get away. But the thing is, not all cops are protected.
No.
If you're actually a legit cop who joins the force to um actually make a change, um yeah, you're not gonna go far. You're probably gonna be a beat for the rest of your life.
But a lot of people love that power trip. It is really sadly unfortunate, but I mean, power is like is what's the word I'm looking for? Is it? I'm not gonna say irresistible because people can resist it, but it can corrupt. I mean, and people can let it get to their head. I think no, I don't know. It's responsibility. I think people get more training. I don't know. It's a complicated situation. I don't know. I mean, even in Africa, I went to Somalia at the beginning of the year, and I mean, even then, there is a lot of progress that's being made. I'm not even gonna throw a tangent in there. I'm just quickly thinking. Just I saw the police that were working over there, and actually, as opposed to how it was quite a long time ago, the actual standard has actually gone up quite a lot. And even then, it's a case of I don't know. In like Pepe, what do you think about when people say defund the police or when they say regulate and all that type of stuff, and then you get the unions that just jump in like so fast to just try and stop anything happening. I mean, it's still crazy that police people don't get charged, right? Like you think that's
Yeah,
crazy. People that make a mistake. I mean, if you make a mistake at your job, you're held to account for it. But in the
exactly.
police, you've got this kind of like this amazing shield of like I'm doing my job, I'm protecting, and that's fair. That's completely right. You should actually be held to that level of respect if you are protecting. But then, as they always keep on saying, the bad seeds, the individuals, the certain kind of the certain departments that may have not kind of like updated or this and that. And I don't know, I hate to blame it, but that like when they say systemic racism, how do you think it would be possible to change it when it's so deeply ingrained? Because I mean, it's easy to get angry, but how do you actually try and think about something to do about it, really?
So when people say defund, because a lot of when people, civilians,
Mm-hmm.
they've never done what a cop does. They've
Right.
never experienced being out there. It's really easy for them to be like, let's say, oh, the war in Iraq and this and that, or this, or let's say, like for example, like a soldier or like whatever.
Yeah.
They've never experienced what it's like. Like when it comes to like rules of engagement and all that stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
so when they say like defund the police, you're not really solving anything.
Well,
You're
but
pretty
it's-
much just because like cops, like I said, they don't get paid enough. So
oh,
it's like
yeah,
if
no,
you
of
want to
course.
do something, you join the force. You
Yeah.
want to go in and change something, you
Mm.
know. So when they say that, like from my perspective, for like what I'm understanding is like you wanna defund so that way they don't have any funds, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But
Yeah,
you don't
it's
want to
always
go
a bit
change
amorphous what is actually meant, because a lot of different groups have come together to sort of, use this as their banner to get whatever their thing is done. So some people
Right.
do mean defund the police, some people mean reform the police, some people do mean
or
abolish the police.
demilitarize.
Absolutely.
Well,
There are anarchists out there that are like, no, police should just be gone
Like look at
completely.
London, for example, like the cops.
mm,
Like
mm-hmm.
if
Good old
something
Bobby.
like let's say the London Bridge stabbings.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't until, like what are the cops gonna do? It's not until they bring out the special unit is that they're able to do shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they could
Yeah.
clobber
So
them with batons, but like you,
Well, they have the tasers usually, but I mean, UK, they usually use the tasers. I mean, they don't usually you bring out the guns unless it's the last case scenario. I mean, they
right,
have
yeah, it's
certain
like a
kind
last
of like
resort.
police officers that actually are trained to actually have the firearms, and
yeah.
even more trained officers that have the assault rifles. And those are the ones that actually have to be like called in for certain kind of if they have terrorist
Yeah.
situation or high
All the
configuration.
All the Americans that say, "Oh, Britain doesn't have any guns," hasn't been outside Buckingham
No,
Palace or to
we've got-
Heathrow.
mate. Oh my God, they've got what do they call it? The transport police, or not? Was it
They've got
the
MP5s. They've fully got MP5s that they just carry around.
Oh, that's a good gun.
but it's,
Yeah,
it's not one of those
I was like,
really like
I
high.
recognise that from GTA.
I recognize that MP5 from Modern Warfare.
Whoa, they've
Yeah.
got MP5s. I'm still listening to MP3s.
But maybe even this, like, check this. So even like the police in UK, I don't even use my experience. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna say there's never been a racist incident with me growing up, but I
Hmm.
mean, I'm not gonna say it was one of my defining kind of experiences growing up, if you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But what the crazy thing about it is, like, with the police, yeah, you get some areas where they may be a bit more blunt with a young black guy or maybe a young Somali guy or whatever. But whenever they talk to me, I'm always talk to them. I always kind of tell them, "Hi, officer, how you doing? Everything okay? What's the problem? I'm just going home. What's the issue?" They tell me what's going on. I say, "Okay, fair enough. I was just here. I'm gonna go home. Thank you very much." If they try and search me, I say, "Well, to be honest, I always kind of I'm not gonna say I've always outsmarted it, but if I haven't had anything, I've just told them, look, I haven't got anything. You can literally pat me down, but I'm going home afterwards. You know what I mean?" And
yeah.
I think it's
Yeah,
that kind of thing of when you have, and again, it's difficult for me to kind of like, base my experience on everyone's experience. Do you know what I mean?
exactly. Because everyone has a different experience. You
Exactly.
can't
Yeah.
It's so
you
anecdotal.
can't argue with their experience because that's what they experienced. That's something you can't change for them.
But I mean, when I say with British police, they don't come around really like they're not ready to shoot, so to speak. But I mean, like you guys were saying
Yeah.
earlier, they've got an attack first, a shoot first, ask questions later, because they're very
Yeah.
scared for their life. What's they call it? The warrior mentality. Have you had a warrior training?
Well,
Um,
what kind? There's so many kinds
Uh,
of ways to train a
I've heard
warrior.
police, they've got this police warrior training, and it is
Okay,
absolutely
no. What's this?
so long story short, what it is it's like there's certain conventions and it's very highly like popular for unions to kind of like promote among officers that are with them or signed up with them or anything like that. And it's basically like your life is in danger. If you don't shoot first, the person's going to shoot for you. Make sure that you're always at alert. Like there's this one exercise, this play exercise where they like make handguns and they're pointing them at each other, and it's the first person to point the gun to say shot, and that kind of exercise to get their mentality on being like, oh, my life is in danger every single moment on the job. And I'm not to
Hmm.
say that it isn't, but if you're
No, and that's
always
what
that
that was. I was saying, like, it keeps them in that heightened fear response, right, where it's fight or flight, instead
exactly, and
of
that's
right.
when you think of good policing, you think of like a friendly officer that's always there to, like give directions and hold old ladies across the road and then chase the burglar down the street. Or you, like whatever. It's not going
Someone is
around just like ready to kill at a moment's notice.
So here's one thing, um, and I noticed one thing about because like I always watch like a lot of different videos
Mm,
um of cops, and yeah, there's a lot of cops that are assholes. Um, but one thing I noticed is officers, they go by procedure,
mm-hmm,
and that's what a lot of civilians don't know. And let's say when an officer pulls you over and you get out of your car, that's breaking procedure. Like you're not supposed to get out of your car. You're supposed to stay in your vehicle, do all that stuff. Because if you get out of your vehicle, then you're giving the message to the officer that you're not gonna comply. You know what I mean?
mm,
That you're gonna do something. And that's what a lot of people don't know. And especially like nowadays in America, you have a lot of people really fucking entitled.
mm-hmm,
They do not comply. Like they'll just be like, I got rights, I got this. No, you can't search my vehicle. No, you can't do that. And they give officers, they make their job a lot harder than it is, rather than just, okay, complying and do this and then going on about on your day. Okay, you got a ticket. Okay, you can fight that in court. Um, that's a big issue that I do see. And with a lot of people recording and putting all that stuff, because in
mm,
the end of the day, you could put the recordings and all that stuff of what's going on, but you don't know what happened minutes earlier before the camera started rolling. You don't know what led to that. You weren't there to
mm,
experience that,
mm.
which is another thing. And you have all the people on Facebook, like
Do you
all of
know?
a sudden they got a law degree.
I'll just quickly say, do you know the scary thing about that is though now we're actually seeing more about what is able to be seen, like as you say that, because the thing is before when there wasn't actually kind of video cameras and all this other type of stuff, a lot of
Right.
the injustices that they were doing was actually just kind of, and even when they had body cams, they kind of like you'd have police officers that would turn off their body cams. And I
Yeah.
think I kind of want to just quickly, just because I just remembered something and it just kind of dawned on me, because even then it's a really kind of interesting like difference to think about it as, right? Like if we think of police officers, what are they doing? They're policing policies, like
Right.
they're
Enforcing
looking
the
after,
law. That's their
like
job, to
the thing is,
enforce
like
it.
in UK, like they're like, well, I mean, it's different between whether they're a peace officer or a police officer. Like the distinction between those two, because I think that what, if your life isn't in danger, if your was it property hasn't been stolen, or if, like and vice versa as well. If you're not doing those things either, then I think that you should be, and you should have a right to go about your day and live your life. If you need to be questioned by police, of course you can be questioned by police, but I think it's maybe within that process that you were speaking about earlier, whereby
Right.
they're forcing this compliance on certain individuals without much information or in like backdrop, and like and
They can
maybe
they can definitely abuse procedure, like because they do have certain areas where they can use their
Right.
discretion, like where they
And I can
choose who to stop and things like that.
that's where
and I
the
can see why people get worried because, they don't just want to like completely comply and then end up like, oh, I'm in handcuffs, just end up
oh,
like a
sure.
John Wayne Gacy sort of situation.
Sorry, I'm really sorry. The scariest thing about it is sometimes the scariest outcome of that isn't just handcuffs in America. For me, anyway, even if I went to America, or again, I'm really sorry, not trying to throw that out, but again, if, as a black individual being in America, a black
Right.
male, let's say, like his worst outcome wouldn't just be handcuffs; it'd be death. He'd be shot, and I
Yeah.
think that's so, like, when did we get to that point where life is that fickle where, and again, I understand that the job's only being done. I understand the actual stress. I say to police officers now that you guys do not have an easy job. It's gonna have to be an upward battle from here, but at the end of the day, as long as it's done with good intentions and kind of good kind of solutions, then I think it could be possible. But how it's all
Hmm.
going about right now is very much the opposite
Well,
way I think
it
it should
seems
be
to have
going.
really ramped up around the time of the Iraq War when, we had all of these APCs and stuff coming back, and it was called the militarization of the police force. And
Right.
you know about this, Pepper. Like all across America, all the police forces in America just like got access to like military hardware that was like spare
Yeah.
military hardware, And around that time, I suspect there must have been military-style training that came in with it. I mean, how else would they have known how to use the hardware? And that seems to have been when things ramped up and things were like escalated into a life and death situation. And also, of course, you've got the cartels, which are
Yeah.
like ramping up as things because
MS-13.
yeah, like they can show up with an army and machine guns, and then what are you meant to do? Get a Bobby with a baton and just bop him in the head? No, it's not going to work.
This one, yeah, you're right. No, that is because the thing is they have the thing is that was again another thing that I saw. The police they have enough equipment in their car to match any situation that could come across. So they have an assault rifle in America. They have the shotgun. They have the
Yeah,
shield.
Hey, Jim.
but I don't think
Like,
they should be these all-purpose things. Like we've already got levels like, well, in America, for instance, you've got the police, you've got the SWAT, and they do different jobs.
Hey, Jim, are you reading the chat?
Which
Let's
chat
do some
where?
call-outs. The cyanotic sounds. Because like people are listening in and they're actually commenting.
Ah, yes, let's have a
So,
look. Oh, hello.
first, there's a dude named
One of my
or
one
chick
of my
named
many chat
Kel.
windows I've got.
Yeah, so shout out to your mom listening and Gemzi Tara. And then DJ Tony's in here. And he said he'd rather loose a spliff getting stop and searched than a 14-year-old get murder. And then he wrote police brutality is class base, not race. Um, that's one thing Ice-T and his band Body Count said. Um, don't fall for the bait and switch. Racism is real, but not it. And that's because it's more so if you don't got money. If you got money to fight in court, then they ain't gonna bother with you. But if you ain't got no money, then they know you can't fight back. But yeah, he put there are racists in every field of work, racists to all skin tones and all ethnicities. When people can work that out, we could start finding equality. But this Black Lives, yeah, he's talking about he's criticizing BLM. And then the
See,
Conquer Divide,
mm.
which I agree there is a big Conquer and Divide. A lot of people are not understanding that.
Well, there's always
People
that
see
going on,
things in
isn't there?
black and white, and they're not seeing the gray area. So yeah,
Was that a pun?
yeah, I heard a purung. Where did our homie go? Okay. Where did our homie ads go?
Someone's chucked him into another server. Let's bring him back. Hello.
Post-
You seem to have left us for a second there.
Did I?
Yeah, you popped into another server. I have no idea. But anyway, so
I'm just going on the side bits here. Hello?
yeah, don't do
Yep,
that.
I'm here. We hear you. We hear you. I was like, wait, where did he go? Did he go? It's
Oh,
like,
goodness. I'm still learning this Discord. I apologize, guys.
yeah,
It's
no
alright.
worries, man. No worries.
Don't touch anything. Just speak into
That's
the
my brother
vibe.
Big Sword.
I'm not gonna lie. I just wanted to see the chat. I just wanted to see what was being said.
Oh, okay, yeah.
My bad.
Don't
But yeah, no,
distract our guest with super chats and comments
technical.
and other things.
Sorry.
That's what our faithful moderators are for.
I have
I
one
just
screen
wanted,
on.
yeah, I just wanted
I
to shout out
apologize.
at the chat, because I mean we're live and it wouldn't be fair for our viewers.
No, of course, of course. Shout out to everyone. I apologize for that. Much love.
But yeah, DJ Tony is definitely right about that.
Yeah.
And I remember when before listening to Body Count, Ice-T's metal band, because he's a rapper, but he also has a metal band.
What a tangent.
And he has a song. He has a song called "No Lives Matter," and I used to have that. I used to think I was the only one that thought that. I'm like, wow. It's like no lives matter until someone tells you that it matters.
And if you don't know the
Uh,
context of the song there, he's saying no lives matter to the government anyway, so why are we making distinctions?
it's like when it comes to the poor, no lives matter.
Yeah.
So let's say if you're, because he's talking about like um whatchamacallit,
Everything, just the whole
like
system.
it's not just black, it's yellow, it's red, it's brown, and white, whites, poor whites that are called trash.
Right,
Like
class. Like you guys said earlier, class.
yeah, he's talking about
Yeah.
like class.
And
And
when did
the
it
reason
all
why black
change?
people, the reason why black people get it a lot worse is because the skin tone is seen as poor. Like cold, like they
Not
see it as poor, like poor class. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do, and it's not just that. I think it's because even though, and I really, truly, I could say that I need to learn a lot more about this subject. So don't quote me as being an expert on this before I've even gathered and stuff from even like we would go back to early Jim Crow laws, or even back to like a little bit before that. When it's really strange that someone said like someone's grandmother's grandmother was actually a slave. That was like the last narration of slavery. That's when it ended. Apparently, if I'm am I am I
Right,
Am I mistaken in that? Because even then, like we can't even think of slavery, black slavery specifically. Let's clarify that as well. African slavery, and not being that long ago, and that lasted for so long, and the effects of that have lasted even now to this day. When we actually think about when black rights actually kind of just came about, when even when we talk about Black Lives Matter, that's because of the whole police violence towards the black communities throughout
right,
kind of like most of the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. 2000s, you know what I mean? Like we can go on, but the thing is, it's just like they just want the like they just want the change
A lot of the
as
issues
kind of
come from sort of like collectivizing everything together, where
well,
there's so many divisions of, as you said, class and people in America, where like the vast bulk of Americans are just not racist at all.
no,
and
no,
and then you've
definitely.
got like the concentrated elements that like seek out, like they go, gosh darn, what, like nobody's racist anymore, how can I push racism, so they become a police officer or a politician.
I think that's a bit ignorant to think that racism isn't an actual thing anymore. That's not to say again that it hasn't actually kind of progressed so
Yeah.
fucking far. Not so far. Sorry, apologies. So far from where we've actually gone to. And again, that's not to even say that we'll make more progress. Now, even then, the racism that we talk about today won't be necessarily the straight up in your face, go home, you blah blah blah, so and so. It'd be more of the refusals from the job. It'd be the kind of like and the actual kind of like the eyes, the actual kind of the extra attention, so to speak. You know what I mean?
right,
The kind of lack of
Yeah.
opportunities would be available to you. You know what I mean? And
right,
going from that as well, if you start off at a disadvantaged position, then first and foremost you develop a bad kind of attitude already, unless you're positive as hell and you just kind of like make the best of life and you work hard to it. But we can't give everyone that kind of you know that
Well,
ability.
just to
We can't
counter that,
teach.
have you seen do you know what BAME stands for?
Sorry,
You know what BAME stands for?
BANE or BAINE? Oh, BAIN. Sorry.
So it's one of these new sociological terms, and it stands for what is it? Is it Middle Eastern or minority ethnic? But it's Black, Asian, and minority ethnic, I believe. And basically, what was it? The BBC was caught up in some scandal because they were putting out ads for positions specifically for BAME actresses or for BAME producers or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
it seems that on an institutional level, they just can't seem to get things right. They can't seem to keep things balanced. They always have to have their thumb on the scale one way or another. They're like, oh, we've been seen as racist. Why don't we only hire one race until, specifically exclude? Like people have said that it's anti-white because who in Britain is not black, Asian, or minority ethnic? Well, that would be white British. And so you've got the BBC excluding white Brits from jobs that could be done by anyone. And that is racial discriminatory hiring as far as I'm concerned. Like they should get the best person for the job, for any one job. And then whoever it is, like, don't even look at the name, don't look at the race at all. Just get the best person for the job each time.
So there is a name for that actual term, if I'm not mistaken. Why I'm really trying to think of it. Oh, why is my brain not working?
I remember where they had the I forgot they had the same thing for colleges,
Mm.
which was
Yeah,
I
no,
think
this
affirmative
was
action. I think.
Affirmative action. So Harvard got into a scandal recently.
God bless you. Oh, that was bugging my brain for so long. Oh, God
What-
bless you guys.
What was it? Oh, that right. So
Affirmative
yeah.
action, sorry.
So your
It was
mic's gone a little bit funny. No, so
Indian guy who
do you know about
was
Harvard?
black to get a scholarship from that.
Yeah.
Do you know
Yeah,
about
there's an
Do you know
Indian
about
guy who
Harvard
literally-
has been sued for discriminating against Asians because they've said that Asians need to score higher on their SATs than anyone else to be admitted into Harvard.
To get the scholarships or something, wasn't it?
Or I don't know. Well, they've only got a certain amount of positions, so it's even to get a position.
Man.
Yeah, that's that's a bit fucked
And
up,
when
you know?
when they were questioned, their response was essentially, I'm paraphrasing here, but too many Asians. Like, well, can you blame us? Look how many Asians there are. And it's like, are you serious? Why are you not
The thing is,
just
they're hard work. They work hard. They actually kind of really put in the work in terms of
like,
education.
oh
in
no,
terms of-
you got a bunch of smart people in your university and you're worried about what they look like. And what are you meant to tell, the Asian girl that has spent her whole life studying, like, oh, sorry. I mean, I know that you got straight A's, but you can't get in because you kind of look like this other student. So, yeah, your dreams are shattered by. Oh,
How bad- oh, good.
but this this Latino guy can get in. Oh yeah, he got B's, but like he comes from a poor background, not even a poor background. Like he might be like rich background, but he's got he's from one of those poor races. So he doesn't have to try as hard. It's fine. It's just
Okay,
condescending.
Wait,
So,
what?
okay, you what did you go to did you go to college?
No.
High school?
I haven't been able to because I've been fucked over.
Damn. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear. Oh well.
Yeah, like I got financial aid, I got all that good stuff, but the thing is, one of the colleges that I went to screwed me over and put me on a blacklist for some reason. So, yeah, but then again,
Fucking hell.
it was clan territory where I was at, so.
Oh dear.
Sorry to hear that, man.
But yeah, hey, I just been working. Well, I'm unemployed at the moment because Rona, but yeah, I
Mhm.
just been, living life and just not being bitter. Despite that, you always have to find ways of persevering.
That's it.
Uh,
I think the human spirit is a lot more tenacious than people give it credit for.
yeah, exactly.
Mm.
So yeah, but with like the affirmative action, I remember there was one Indian man who literally he got fades and all that stuff. He changed his name. I think it was like
No
Jabari or
way.
something.
No, you're joking. No, this isn't a
I'm
real
not
thing.
joking. Let me look for it.
Oh
Indian
my! No, just go on. Tell me the rest.
Affirmative action. I remember watching it. Why I faked for med school. Okay, his name was VJ. Oh, so what he did is he shaved his head. He shaved his head to look black because
Oh
like
my-
the dude's dark. He's Indian, but he's dark. So he's like, why I faked being black for med school. And it's like
My
VJ Shokal Ingam as an Indian American applicant, and then the one, uh, the other picture is him, uh, with his head shaved. So yeah,
Can
he
you
That's
really,
literally
that's ridiculous. This
and
is
no,
one of the best
he
timelines.
changed his name. He changed.
can you even be mad at that? I mean, I can't. I mean, I can. But then I
Like-
can't be.
Like that's disrespectful, but you got to respect the hustle.
Yeah, he kind of took the opportunity away from a black person, but at the same time, he managed to put in the work. He actually came up to it, like changed his name, cut his hair, thought to himself, "I'm going for that black scholarship," and he got it. Like, work right there. That's creative right there. That is a creative solution that he came up with.
Even after he was discovered, they were like, "Well, you've been found out, but you showed such creativity that we're awarding you the distinction. Here you go, an honorary degree."
A degree in creativity as well.
A degree in
Yeah,
creativity. Here you go.
He's
No one
like,
has one of
"Okay,
these.
that sounds black."
Oh my god, that's absolutely ridiculous. But you know,
So
hey, you know what?
yeah, like there are various places where like they're like, oh boy, we've been accused of being racist in the past, like Princeton University, where like the guy that built it got rich off owning slaves, and they're like, oh golly gee whiz, we sure do have a sordid past. We've got such a reputation, and like they've just gone completely the other way. It's
Bro,
like
one of his
once a
black friends
racist,
told
always a
me it.
racist. They can't help it. They
One of
just
his
go
black friends
completely the
from
opposite
a
direction.
different university. Uh, he was like, because what he did is like he trimmed he shaved his head, he trimmed his eyelashes.
I'm looking for a picture. What's his name again?
Um,
I need to see the
his
face
name
of
is
this actual genius.
V
Sorry, VJ.
VJ Chokal Ingam, but just look for Jojo White.
What?
Jojo.
Jojo White.
No, no, no.
Or just look for just VJ Jojo, because like the thing is his name is VJ, so his nickname is Jojo.
What do
And
you
that's what
mean
he
he's
went
in the
by.
Basketball Hall of Fame?
No, that's not him. That's
That's
what
what
he
I'm
got.
saying.
What? He played 2 NBA championships, set franchise
No, that's
record.
not him.
What?
Just put Jojo
Jojo
VJ.
White.
What are you saying?
Jojo
Look up
VJ.
Jojo White for?
There we go. VJ Chokalingam.
VJ.
I feel like we're just going off into the weeds here.
No, this one's good, but it's like funny because I remember actually like watching
Oh
a
my
video
God.
which was talking about affirmative action and how this dude hustled. Like he straight up finessed. He's like,
Oh my God.
let me see, let me see. Now I am black man.
Oh my God. I'm literally in just the name of the book, Almost Black. Oh, oh my. And I just saw the page and I know a guy that looks like, oh my God.
Hey Ads,
This is so
hey Ads, are you
Hey.
aware of the existence of Rachel Dolezal?
Oh my God.
my God, I remember that
She
hoe.
makes
Just-
me chuckle. She makes me laugh from a good place because I mean like she's just
I mean, that's your Sean King, but Sean King, you know, people still won't believe that.
that he's white.
Yeah, and people have called him out on it, and it's sort of like, nah, like, bro, he a Peckerwood. He is straight up cracker. He's straight up honky.
Oi,
Sean Kingston?
Yeah, Sean King, like he white.
you're far too American for this, man. You're just name dropping random people at a rapid clip.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, this guy. Oh,
like,
wow.
and like all he's doing, like Sean King is doing, is just going to a black barber and just looking like a Puerto Rican. That's basically what he's doing.
So so I guess being black is desirable, but it's also dangerous.
Yep,
Yeah.
Damn.
apparently so. I mean, there's race fetishism on all sides of the aisle. You've got like Japanese people that are like Anglophiles, love everything about Britain. That you've just got people just kind of like, you know,
Bleach
like
white.
other people's cultures.
You got
Yeah,
the
no,
white
exactly.
girls
There's that thing,
that
and they're like, "Oh,
guy-
Europeans are the
get the-
epitome of beauty," and then you got Europeans that are like, "Nah, no, we're not, though."
Yeah.
Want to be black?
You got the white boys that like brown girls from the Middle East.
Yeah, exactly.
You got,
Like,
you got the boys that like the Latinas. You know, you got the white girls that like the black dudes.
you're gonna list all of them.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
like it's always
You got the
always
Inuits
like
that love the pygmies. There's
You
fucking
know what? I just want to quickly point out again. All of this could not have happened until we actually started globalization, like globalizing. Like, do you know what I mean? Like being able to travel between the
it's
countries.
not even so much travel as the mass communications, because now we could just all talk to each other and we could all like see pictures of each other. Like with just mass travel, there were still some people that would still not get a good representation in the outside world, but with the internet, it's just right in your face. Like you can't
Right.
help but see news about the other side of the world. It just happens, you know.
Yeah.
So
Wow, right.
it's like we're all one big village now. You know, we're all down the road from each other.
No, like, we're connected. We're connected. And that's nice. And I think that's going to be one of the things that we can use now to start enacting all those changes. Because again, as you like with the videos, with the actual technology kind of advances, with all of that, we're able to kind of be able to, I don't know, gives us the chance to really be better. I don't know. Have you guys ever watched this show, What Would You Do?
Yeah,
With
exactly.
Aries
Let's.
Quinones?
I think I
Oh
heard
yeah,
of it.
I of course I've watched many episodes of that. Like some of those setups that he's done are fantastic. Like there's some of them are great though, like the memey ones where it's like, what would you do if a girl gamer was getting bullied in a store by some jackoffs?
Oh my God, what would you do if you saw a star
Hey,
from a
hey,
girl
you can't play
stream?
games. You're a girl. Yeah, that's right. Girls can't play games. Hey,
You
leave
know
me
what?
alone.
You know what? I ain't gonna lie. Some funny ones in there, and there were
There's
also
some dark ones, yes.
there were some dark ones,
Like
which
the
I
one where
actually
the
kind of.
no, have you seen the one where the child gets snatched
Mm-hmm.
and the two black
Oh yeah.
guys just like drop their bags and leg it straight
Oh
at
no.
him? Like, what are
Oh
you doing?
yeah. Oh my God. That's where
I'm
those
so
old
glad you've
women.
seen that exact clip as well. Like, there were people that were just like, "What is that? I guess it's fine. I mean, oh," and just carry on with their day.
And the women ran up and got out. They were looking for the women, the girls, weren't they?
Yeah,
Mate.
and
Oh
that's
my
when
goodness.
some people. So for anyone that doesn't know what we're talking about, the show setup is. What's the name of the show? Do you want to explain a little bit about
Well,
what it is and who he does and who he is and what he does?
well, what would you do based on a show asking the question, what would you do in certain situations? I don't know why I had to say it like that, but I was just
Nice.
thinking of
Hey, what would you do if you were in a
what
what would
would
you
you
do?
do?
What would you
And you
do in
know
a
what?
situation?
I actually honestly, if we really put people in situations like even then, I'm sorry, again, back to the race, in like seeing if you saw a
So it's
Muslim being like racist against, or if you saw an actual black person being racist against, or an actual even then they switched it out. Like if you saw a white person being racist
oh
against,
yeah, they
like
always
they actually
compare things. Yeah, it's like now what
yeah,
happens if it's a man, and it's like
yeah, switching it up. And then again, you see, I swear the funniest one, and this is quite funny how they had the same woman do the same scene where they just wanted her to get help changing a tire, right?
yeah,
First time she did it as a normal, oh no, she's quite hot, obviously, TV, you know what I mean? So she's kind of like, she gets help all the time, all the time. I swear that every time they set it up, she always managed to get someone to help her. They
yep,
reset the scene. This time she had a hijab. Oh my God. The difference that you see, and again, whether the show is just trying to highlight it for ratings or anything like that, or
mm,
anything, they have the bit in the show when they go, they tried the scene however many out of 100 times, and then they give a low number to be like that's how many people kind of jumped in and blah blah blah. And I don't know, and it really does show because again, you get people that argue, you know, like things that you think to yourself, this is crazy. But at the same time, they believe in it. So again, like they do set people up sometimes, to be honest. So I do kind of like, I don't know, I'm kind of torn between whether it's fully
yeah.
scripted
Well,
or
all of
either
no, I think
acting.
it's semi-real, semi-scripted. Like most of these reality shows, like they'll go up to people in public and be like, "Oh, we're gonna do this thing. Like, if it would be cool if you could react in this way," or they might
You reckon
like.
they do that? You reckon they did that for the show though? I mean, that'd be a lot of people, and maybe they tell them, you get a free
No,
lunch or you get.
usually they just let it play out, like Impractical Jokers. There's no way they can just go around and tell everyone to react the way that they do sometimes, some of those extras have got to be genuine people that are just like, what? I don't get it. But usually the store owners, I've seen it happen in real life. Like I was sitting in a barber's and some people came in and said, hey, we're just from the studios and we wanted to do like a little skit inside your barbershop. Would you be up for doing it at this kind of thing? We're going to treat it like it's a thing. If you could play along, we're going to pay you afterwards. We're going to prepay you now, but the skit is that he runs away without paying. And like obviously he was like, oh yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. Anytime you want to come in, we'll just notice you by the fact that there's cameras outside watching his every move, So, these
Oh,
things do get
I
arranged
can only
beforehand with the appropriate people.
Well, I'll just say this. I can only hope and pray that some of those reactions have been real because you know what? I saw some real people stick up. Like, the thing is, I know it's simple, but even then, if you just stick up for seeing what are they like? what do they say? The act of evil, like being let, like, oh, there's a real saying that I'm bugging out on. Again, I'm sorry, my brain is really struggling. No,
Nah,
but
don't
it's
worry.
the absence of good that allows evil to grow, or something like that. Or if good people
Uh,
stand and watch
I know what you're
evil.
talking about. Hold up.
What is
The
it?
only thing that is required for evil to flourish is good men to do nothing.
That's what I mean. And seeing people react, at least even if it's fake or not. I mean, you see people not reacting, you see people reacting. So obviously,
Hmm.
I don't know. If I was in that situation, I always think to myself, if I was in that situation, I'd tell you what I'd do.
Oh, you mean the bystander effect?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
exactly. No, everyone likes to think that, but then everyone's like not on the ball 100% of the time, you know. But the couple of times where there has been a crisis, like I was like the first on the scene to a car crash one day. Like sometimes things just happen, and you need to just kind of deal with it. But also, like a helpful bit of advice: if you are ever in a situation where you need help, it's a crisis, and people are just kind of standing around gawking at you, don't say somebody help. Nobody
Point at
will
someone.
help. Point at someone and say,
Point at
you help. If they say no,
you.
move on. But then that's
No.
given them an imperative, and now they know you're talking to them. And then someone might step in. But if you say somebody, everybody's going to be waiting for that somebody to step up. You need to make it obvious that they can be a somebody.
That's it. That is it. And you know what I was even gonna say, because I thought that might be a good segue into what I was gonna say to Sonny. I was gonna bring up earlier on as well, like about kind of like, even then, what would you do? Because there's a lot of sexist stuff. There's a lot of kind of anti-women stuff. And again,
Yeah.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg passing away. Do you think Donald Trump should be able to elect the next Supreme Court justice in that place? What do you reckon?
I don't. I didn't really have an opinion on it because I didn't know
If you
about
were,
the
sorry.
last time. But you know,
No,
like
he was
you were
like,
going to bring up the last time where how it was within an election year that one of the
Yeah.
old justices
Yeah.
died under Obama, and they were like, "Oh, you can't do this. It's an election year." Like,
Lindsey Graham jumped in so quick to be like, you can't do this on election year. He's about to leave. It's a very important decision. But now
yeah,
he's changed his, and now he's so
but
on trying to get.
I think that what actually defeated that in the end, this is what I've heard. It wasn't obviously, you can't just come in and be like, oh, this shouldn't happen and just get it to not happen. It was the fact that the House and the Senate, the House was controlled by the Democrats and the Senate was controlled by the Republicans, even though it was Obama, right? And so what happened was most of the Democrats, so it went through the House, but it couldn't pass the Senate. And so the situation at the moment now is, I believe, both are a Republican majority. Is that right, Pepe?
Republican majority.
House and Senate.
I think so. Or I think for the Senate, I think the Senate is Democrat
That's one.
majority, which is why.
So that'll be
Nancy,
interesting. So that's it. So
Nancy Pelosi at the moment
no,
in there, right?
Nancy Pelosi is Speaker of the House, like our John Burko.
Okay. Okay.
She just
That's
like
interesting. I didn't know.
oversees proceedings. She's not meant to
And
get
is that
involved in politics as much as she does, honestly.
okay?
Yeah, you'd think she
how's
was.
speaking? I don't know.
Yeah.
She was quite big, to be honest. Like, but hey, you know what? Fair enough. She was there. She was there with the whole kind of African, kind of like scarf with that whole kind of get.
Ah, yeah, the garb of the Ashanti slave driver kings. Very nice. Like,
Yeah,
if you
but I
actually had a look at
remember
the pattern, it was actually a specific pattern worn by I think it was the Ashanti royalty, who were like the slave drivers at the time, and it was like, why that pattern, Nancy? What are you doing? Out of all of the things that you could have picked.
I guess she's having some creative outlet. I don't know why.
There's so many strange things if you start looking into it. Like you could hear a politician saying something completely reasonable, like, yeah, and then like go back 4 years and they're saying the complete opposite. They're like just screaming it, like, oh, you got, oh, it's like, why have you changed your tune? What's going on here? Ah, yes, tribalism. I see. So none of you are actually being honest.
No.
I remember the Supreme Court, like, you know, how they're like, yeah, it's
So-
election year, y'all can vote for anyone.
So yeah,
You
to
know,
get back
was-
to that, if the case is, because I'm too bothered. Wait, hang on. So, House and Senate, Repub. So if the case is that both the House and the Senate are Republican majority, which I think they are, then that would mean that the new justice would pass because they would nominate, it would go through, and then it would pass, and then everybody involved would be pretty fucking miffed about it. They'd be, oh, what the fuck, like, you couldn't do that last time.
Do anything. Yeah.
And they wouldn't be able
wouldn't
to
be
do
able-
anything about it because it would, I believe that it's, the Republicans just have the power to like pass law now. Like the Conservatives in the UK, they've just got like such a majority. They could just go, here's a new law. No, we don't like that. We don't care. Let's vote on this law and just get stuff done. Because that's what an absolute majority means.
Ah, is that democracy then, or is that just kind of like a dictatorship?
I don't like it. I've never been a big proponent of representative democracy because there's nothing making the representatives actually do the representing. They seem to have their own agendas. If they were actually middlemen and could actually convey our interest towards Parliament, fair enough. But they seem to just have like corporate interests, you know, whatever. Representative democracy doesn't seem to work as well as we think it does.
I'll tell you what, this funny actual saying, it's not Black Lives Matter or Blue Lives Matter or green, it's Green Lives Matter. Literally, money runs everything. Literally, that's what they all...
basically.
Yeah.
Jeez, guys.
And a lot of these dumbasses don't know that, and they're being brainwashed by, you know, Marxists and shit. You know, like you got like the LGBT going in that movement. You know, like it's this whole group just creeping in, and it's so fucking bizarre how um a lot of these people really think that, you know, the ideologies, you know, like the Marxist ideologies and all that shit, they really think that that's the perfect ideology when in fact the fucking Soviets and all that shit, they were fucking racist as hell. You see him sporting Che Guevara shirts, and Che Guevara fucking hated gay
Yeah,
people.
yeah, no, he used to
shoot 'em
execute
almost
them.
on sight.
Yeah,
But
they did not.
yeah,
mind.
and do you know why? Because it's the, you know, it's as part of the socialist utopia, it's their duty to child rear to bring up the next generation of workers. So if you're gay, you're not a good socialist, and apparently you deserve to die. That was the punishment for not breeding as your overlords told you to.
Quite extreme. Damn.
Yeah, like it's irony. It's like a block Nazi, pretty much.
Oh, what, like
Just a
Clayton Bigsby?
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
or like have you ever seen the movie Iron Sky, where they like take away his
have.
pigment and like give him like
Is that the Nazis on the moon?
yeah.
Oh my god! And they
my
have
lord.
fucking these crazy blitzkrieg kind of like blimp, kind of like shooting machines or some other crap, right? With like these like fan propellers and stuff on the side, right?
Yes.
I've only seen big pieces of the movie, and it just kind of...
I too have played Wolfenstein.
Is that Wolfenstein?
My grandfather was a Wolfenstein fan. Look at all this Wolfenstein memorabilia.
Or the classic, it's going to be a maze.
Sorry,
Yeah,
it's going to
But
be a
yeah.
what?
a maze.
But anyway, so
I'm baffed on that one. Sorry, bit of explanation on that one. I'm sorry. Bit what?
no, moving on.
Okay, apologies. Go on. So yeah, Supreme. So do you reckon again they'll get the actual kind of
Yes,
vote in,
Nazis
then-
supreme. Anyway, well,
just what I was gonna say. So literally, you know, with kind of like, you know, when he gets this last vote on who's gonna be like elected in, like, do you reckon that Trump is gonna get re-elected? And do you reckon if he does, like, do you reckon it's... oh my goodness, fucking gracious. Oh, sorry again. Sorry, won't swear. But
don't worry about
man,
swearing.
legit, I just like Trump is a strange one. Like He's how?
See, when Trump got
How?
elected, I was like, oh no, here we go again. Bush 2.0. We're going to have like another hole in the Middle East soon enough.
Like,
And
He's the
then
opposite.
and then he's like been the most anti-war president of my lifetime. I don't understand what's happening.
is he anti-war really? He seems to be anti-war.
He
Like,
freaking
whoa.
pulls him out of Afghanistan, and like all the
He's
Democrats
pulled
are
troops
pissed.
out. And yeah, and then the Democrats like, oh, what are you doing? We need to be in there to stabilize the region. It's like, no, that's not what's actually happening by keeping troops there. Like, I remember back in the day, I was always like, the one thing that got me politically active, I was like, yes, I can agree that war is bad. I am anti-war. Wait, we're going into a big war. Well, that's bad. I don't like war. War makes people die. So I remember the 1 million man demonstration against the Iraq War in London and nothing happening. And I think that all boiled over eventually into the Occupy Wall Street protests and like Occupy London, all of those different, movements where they were like, well, we've got pretty good evidence that they're not listening to us because we had one of the biggest protests we ever had and, nothing happened. Like, what can we do?
Well,
But yeah, like Trump has done like I've never seen one thing because like I'm not a fan of him because yeah he is a bit of an asshole, but
But
he's
like
an enigma to me. He's
but
a complete enigma. How he's managed to
I
lie so much, do so much, and he's still there. And he's still. I mean, I think he's still kind of going strong.
I think he's going to get re-elected.
yeah
I think it's going to
because
be a landslide as well.
the
It's
lefties
going to
are
be
going ape shit like
going to be
they're really
very
turning him
strange.
on.
It's because the conditions that got him elected the last time haven't changed, and they've in fact gotten worse and more acute and shoved in your average American's face. So
And
I've heard random
but yeah,
Americans saying like, I don't really have an opinion on Trump, but the media keeps like bullying the man, and I want to see if he'll be able to actually get his job done if he gets a second term. So I'm gonna vote for him this year, and I didn't vote for him last time. There seems to be people that are like, wow, the media's so awful, I'm going to vote for Trump just to spite them.
Okay, so here's one thing. So on the he's anti-war, but he's also at what did he do to Obamacare? Why the hell did he actually mess so many Americans up with kind of like healthcare? I know that we were saying like again,
I'm
maybe
not very
Pepe.
familiar with that.
Enlighten me.
Maybe Pepe
Yeah,
knows
can you
more.
enlighten me? Maybe.
yeah, I'm not too big into like the Obamacare and all that shit.
So, as
It
far
seems
as
to
I'm
me.
aware, Obamacare is single-payer healthcare, which means that there's very little in the way of options. It's not like our NHS where we've got private and public, and we've got free at point of contact, but we can pay for a better service if we want. With Obamacare, how did Obamacare work, Pepe? Do you have any idea?
I don't know. I know it was like for like people with like low income, like you had Obama phones, you
Yeah,
had all
so it was
sorts of
like
shit.
mandatory insurance, essentially, that
Not
you had to
mandatory
buy.
insurance because I didn't have no Obamacare.
Well, it was under certain conditions, right?
Yeah, like I think you had to apply for it.
It was opt-in. Oh, I'm
Like
so confused now.
yeah, like I think you had to. Yeah, I think you had to apply
Because
for
there's
it.
different things.
was-
There's Medicaid, Medicare.
Yeah.
They're all different aspects of
but
this, but
yeah,
none of
but I
us are.
think you had to.
We're all clearly
had to
not
apply
experts
for
in
it.
this. So what else were we talking about?
The reason I mentioned it is because the thing is for Trump, the reason he just kind of I felt like he was just going at everything that Obama was trying to build up, and like
Yeah,
even then you have other people that are releasing the exposés about the whole kind of the state of the White House at this precise moment, like with how many people that have gone in and gone out and gone in and gone out. It just kind of like it's very in state unstable. And then you
Mm.
have like was that world meeting that they had recently where Macron, Boris, and who's the other guy? The Canadian, Canadian,
Oh God,
Canadian guy,
Trudeau.
Trudeau. Yeah,
Trudeau.
Did you
three
see
were
that
having a
picture
little.
of it?
Blackface.
Did you see that picture of him in blackface?
Yes,
Trudeau Popo, Mr.
imagine.
Popo.
Oh my lord!
He was Mr.
Why?
Popo.
Oh. Yes,
And
it was.
no, and all you can see is that big white grin like the Cheshire Cat, and it's like, Trudeau, what are you doing? Like I you can't find pictures of me where I'm just hanging out in blackface because fucking Christ, they don't exist. Pepe?
Yes.
Where did you go, Pepe?
I am here.
You'll disappear, Pepe. I miss you.
Wait, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I was about to say.
Hi guys, sorry.
But yeah, Trudeau's a cunt.
All right.
Just gonna say
All right, jeez.
He seems so smiley, and you know what the thing is? He gives very nice apologies. That's why I feel like Canadians do very well. They're very good at apologizing. They're
Yeah.
very, very,
Yep.
very good at
Oh
apologizing.
my
they're good at
God.
bending over too.
I'm so sorry to Canada for having to deal with Trudeau. You've got my
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
condolences.
sorry. I have a lot of Canadian homies that are cool as fuck.
I
Yeah,
have Canadian cousins in Canada. I can't wait to go Canada. It's on the list.
yeah,
of places
Canada's a
to go.
great place. Like the
Canada has a good
places.
battle scene, dude.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not actually going to deny that. Like, we've got some pretty good bands up in Canada. But anyway, bring it back onto the point. We were talking about Trump.
Yeah, and
So
it's like how
let's
they
get
were
let's get past this
Yeah.
because everyone
You know
talks
what?
about Trump all the time.
Who do you reckon's worse, Boris or Trump?
Boris. I reckon Boris is more devious.
That's a
Oh,
good
you know
Because
what?
Trump is
Let us
like
have-
just like, hey, I'm a billionaire. I can do what I want. Hey, I've got a supermodel wife. I'm gonna make plans, the best plans. I'm gonna hire all the best people. But like Boris is like old Etonian, so he's probably got some schemes going on. And he's like, here's the thing, lads. I'm going to put on this persona as a bumbling goof, and I'm going to lure them all into a snafu. Ho 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 ho.
That's so true. That disturbs me so much. When I do it.
Oh, yes, they all love the bumbling jackass. That is the character I'm going to play. You play bad cop, I'll play good cop.
Let his hair fly up in the air with no care.
Looks like there's no good cop here.
He's essentially the Winston Churchill of our time. He tries very hard to be, so let's give him that one. But, you know, with all the blemishes too, where, like, he's probably going to, like, go down and we're going to look into his past and be like, wait a minute, what did he do? Holy shit. But, like, at the time, we're like, yeah, he's witty. Do you remember that time he called that guy a pumpernickel? Woo!
You know what? Nothing is going to beat knowing that there was a prime minister who had sex with a pig.
That was fantastic. After Black Mirror came out as well, like, did you really emulate real life? Did you really
Like-
just manage to predict actual things? Like, did he know? Did he have like inside like knowledge? And he was like, I'm going to expose these wankers. Or is the political establishment so predictable that a cynic was like, let's just have one of them fuck a pig, and then they were like, oh god, they're onto us.
Oh, Dave Cameron.
So
Yeah,
Pepe here has not been very well acquainted with Black Mirror, but I made him watch that episode.
mate.
So
That
we're
is
we're
a-
all on the same page with this.
Oh, he
Mate.
made me watch the guy fuck a pig.
See,
There-
and
he
you know
made
what?
me watch.
Was it? I swear, Bug. Correct me if I'm mistaken. In Eton or in some of these private schools,
hmm
there's some type of like ritual or a
I
thing that they
wouldn't.
do.
I wouldn't know anything about that. I just know that it's all boarding school and it's all a bit insular. And if they wanted to have like little clubs and games and secrets and whatever that they pass down and traditions, that's the best place for it. You know, like secluded from the outside world. It would be them against the world. You know, they would have such a deep friendship that they would always be looking out for each other. Like, oh, I remember him. He was in my class.
But well, I'm trying to wrap my well again, not trying to, because again, it's disgusting to think about. But the person who started that whole tradition, that's what I'm thinking. The someone who started that tradition. What did you just say? Tradition, or am I bugging out?
Tradition.
I meant other things than pig fucking when I
Yeah.
said traditions.
Yeah. So I mean, I just don't
Like,
know.
get out the ceremonial sow. Just. No, it was a dead pig, Pepe. Come on.
But yeah.
Just like imagine flies all around it. Just like a bit of bacon's been carved off the side. It's like, oh, it's a bit manky in it. Yeah, it's been in the shed all summer. Go on, give it an old Roger, Cameron.
It's a bit ripe. Go on, Cameron. Oh,
It's a
goodness,
bit
no.
ripe, but go for it. Oh, look, he's a mad lad. He's doing it.
You know what? Again, and as well as that, fuck Cameron for actually kind of like doing. Well, he did the referendum for Brexit. He ruined a lot of things and just essed out. He just left. He just kind of was just like, okay,
No.
here's the referendum. Oh, you didn't vote
I
how
see
thought
that
you would.
as he shit tested the British public, and they were like, "Oh, really? You're going to give us a referendum, are you? Oh, that's interesting." They were like, and then I think what turned the tide on Brexit was, I've even got mine still because it's such a memento of a fantastic occasion. I can't believe like this actually. The government started sending out leaflets saying the government thinks that we should stay in the EU, and here are reasons. And like you got to the end, and it was like, wait, aren't you meant to like you're funded by the
The government
taxpayer?
said that we're
You're
staying
meant to show both sides. And then people were like, well, if the government thinks we should do it, then fuck them. And just in mass voted against what the like because before like people had really like been told how they should vote. People were really undecided. Like, do you remember like Lexit? Like, there was a leftist argument for leaving the EU, and there was also the right that were like, no, we need to stay as part of the bigger bloc so that we're stronger and more stable, and all of that kind of thing. So there was arguments on each side, and like the leftist argument for leaving was interesting because they were like, oh, it's bureaucratic, super state, and like, you know, it's unaccountable or whatever. It was, and then like the battle lines were drawn somehow where they were like, no, like the right wing believes that we should leave, and the left wing believes that we should stay. And then I remember a bunch of pundits like Owen Jones was a big Lexiteer, and then he just went, all right, well now I love the EU. And like a bunch of people just like flipped into place, like, oh, okay, now it's a partisan thing. Now I know where I need to have my opinion. Whereas the British public were just like, I'm sick of being fucked around like this. And if we're being given this opportunity, more than half ended up going, you know what, fuck it, fuck you. Like every single thing was telling them like, oh, you're going to lose money, you're going to lose jobs, you're going to lose medicine, you're going to lose this, blah, blah, blah. They went, you know what, take all of that and shove it up your ass.
Bye, Felicia.
And that's what happens when the government spends centuries just lying straight to our face, and then they're like, trust us on this one though, please, pretty please, like it's important to us, pretty please, just trust us. We're like,
No.
okay, sure thing. And then Boris happened as well, and like that was weird because you had all of like the mining towns up north that Thatcher had fucked
How
up,
about Nigel?
just going, all right, well, we'll give you a chance, Boris, but if you fuck us around, we're going back to Labour for like 200 years this time.
How about Nigel?
Nigel's a character. Nigel's a schemer as well, isn't he? Like Boris. But what was that?
The troll?
But like Theresa May as well. She was like, oh, we need to get Brexit done, and everyone was like, all right, yeah, cool, let's get Brexit done. Like we voted for this, let's just get it done then. And then she was like, right, so everyone, Brexit, and also killing foxes. And what do you mean? She's like, right, okay, Brexit, but also we kill some elephants, right? And everyone's like, no. She's like, okay, but you can't say no because I'm going to say Brexit a lot. And then people are like, yeah, but we like animals though. And so she actually lost her majority. I went, who can I ally with? I know, this party that's like half IRA or something, I remember it being described as. Like, what a turnaround.
Wasn't it the BNP, wasn't it?
No, it was the DWP. I can't remember. I don't even pay attention to British politics, really. Because I know for a fact we're fucked.
Yeah. It just seems like a bit of a mess all over, really, isn't it?
Yeah. At least with
there's some,
America, you could, like, you know, shout about it a lot. And then go into the woods and hide because there's a lot of room. Where can you go in England, really? Run up. Just run north for like 3 days and then you reach the coast.
Go to Francia. Just go to Francia.
No, never go to France. Never.
Just go to France like all the kings.
Let's reclaim Brittany.
mate, Sonny, forget it. We'll go to Somalia. We'll set up camp over there. We'll
That's
make an
right.
entire new city.
Perfect
We're in it.
anarchist nation. We're going to all move in.
Mate.
We're going to set up shop. And we're going to be like, right, libertarian
what?
paradise.
You know, I actually heard, I don't know if this is actually true. I mean, a little bit of me thinks that some people would actually kind of falsify this fact. But if it was actually true, man, that would be interesting. Apparently, Somalia, as an actual kind of like where it is in Africa, it's going to like break off in the next 500 to 1,000 years. So it's actually going to be like Madagascar a little bit, where it's just like, you know, part of African
So you're saying it's on the same... Oh, wait. Ethiopia is on a geological fault line, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, that would explain how mountainous the region is. Yeah, I didn't realize that Somalia was... no, it's the Horn of Africa, right? I didn't realize it was on the same plate as the Persian Gulf and, you know, that sort of region. I thought it was on the African plate, you know?
Was it? I'm looking at the map now.
Because the entirety of Africa is one big plate, because Africa is, like, strong and stable, like Theresa May used to say.
Wait, what? Rewind, excuse me?
Africa is one big continental plate. Africa is one of the most geologically stable plates there is. Strong and stable.
That is so untrue.
Do you remember, like, 3 years ago, she was like, strong and stable and stable and strong and stable and strong and stable and strong and strong and stable.
That's what she's trying to say about Africa?
No, about Brexit.
Okay.
I'm saying Africa is strong and stable geologically because it rests on a single plate, meaning there's no earthquakes in the middle, just around the edges. A bit like us. We're right on the middle of a geological plate. And so, have you ever experienced an earthquake in the UK?
I don't think I have.
No, we're pretty geologically safe here.
I think, yeah. I mean, I'm really thinking about that. I mean, this is the thing. We don't get hurricanes or get many natural disasters.
No, it's the Gulf Stream gives us warmth where we really shouldn't have warmth. We are too far away and too up north to really get the brunt of any hurricanes, where the rotation of the Earth pulls us away from it, as well as it forms in the Atlantic Ocean and thrusts it towards Pepe instead. Sorry about that, but like not really all that sorry.
And again, Pepe, where are you from? Where are you from again in America?
Florida.
I'm the
Florida.
Penis of America.
Florida.
Florida is the penis of America.
The penis. I've heard a lot about Florida, and again, a lot good, a lot bad. Like, where's this I hear about an alligator man? Alligator man? Any idea?
Yeah, there's plenty of alligator men in Florida, and you're going to have to specify.
Okay,
there's men that breed alligators, fuck alligators, wear alligators' skin shoes, walk alligators, wrestle alligators.
What's that? There's a resort, a spring break resort as well in Florida.
Orlando.
Pepe? Any idea of it? Spring? I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. Florida seems fun. You guys have a lot of like do you surf? Do you surf as well? I mean, it's very much on the ocean, but then there's a lot of swamps there as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go up north, it's pretty swampy, but if you go down south, it's all beaches.
Yeah. But like Florida's pretty chill though. Like if you go to Tampa and all that shit, it's pretty fun.
Is that the town? Is that the place I'm thinking of? There's a party kind of place, the party central of Florida.
Yeah, I'm more in the central. Tampa's like central Florida.
Okay, good.
Tampa's like more west, and then the opposite of it is like Daytona, like a little bit to the north.
Daytona beaches, and I swear there's a Daytona race.
Yeah, but I don't like Miami though. Miami sucks.
Is Miami in Florida?
Yep, Miami is like the south.
Miami is where Vice City is, which is set in Florida.
Yes.
That's where DJ Khaled is.
That's right. And another one.
Another one.
New York City, and I don't like New York City.
New York.
I used to live in New York City.
You used to live in New York?
The Bronx,
Or were you in the Bronx?
No, I was
Queens.
in Long Island, which
Long
by
Island.
by New York City
You've
standards, they're like
you
Long Island don't count.
you lived in the
Yeah,
penis
I
of
read
New
that.
York, and now you live on the penis of America.
I'm
I
sorry,
was in the
Pepe.
border of like Long Island and Queens.
See, Pepe, only reason I know that Long Island isn't considered New York is because of How I Met Your Mother, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But I was
You
like
live
right near
in
Queens.
Everybody Loves Raymond Town.
Yeah.
I live in Everyone Loves Raymond Town.
Why would you live
you know,
with?
are New Yorkers as mean as everyone say, or is that just the common misconception and just like everyone's just doing
I
their own thing?
imagine as mean as a Londoner if you stop them from
This is what I
commuting.
mean. Like people get that misconception about Londoners being like, oh, they're just like, but the thing is, you could just be busy. I mean, yeah, you get some really, really mad, like bad, let's call them bad Londoners.
Yeah, there's a lot
And
of road rage all over the place, right? But America has some pretty gnarly fucking toll roads where people get stuck in like their commute for a long time.
mm. So again, so Pepe, in your opinion, again, well, obviously you live in Florida now. So do you prefer living in Florida, or did you like it when? Well, did you say you didn't like it in Long
I like
Island?
New York because of the metal scene and like just the homies. But like the taxes in New York are stupid. The quality of living ain't that great. Like it's nice to visit, but like to find a place to live, like rent and all that shit it sucks. Upstate New York is nice though. It's a lot cheaper, but still, I mean, um, I don't like having to deal with Cuomo and all that shit because
Uh-huh.
he's a fucking cunt like
And he's
Justin
he's the
Trudeau.
mayor in Florida.
Um, but yeah, but whatchamacallit, Florida feels a lot. It's a lot nicer,
Yeah.
compared to New York. Like you don't have state income tax, which is probably one of the most annoying things. Um, also, gun laws. The gun laws aren't strict in Florida compared to New York. In New York, you get punished severely for having a gun.
Yeah, New York is
Like,
pretty much like London in terms of gun laws.
Okay. Fair enough.
yeah,
Like they're very heavily restrictive. Like some
like
of the inner
there's been
cities in America
people
are very restrictive on like what you
there's
can
been
do with
people
guns.
who were legally able to carry and they go to the airport and then New York just gives them a whole like, they have to go to court and all that stuff and be in like the county jails and shit. Like there's been a lot of nightmares of people who are um
Legal
who are
gun owners.
licensed to have guns and go through the whole regulations of the TSA and it's like nope. It's like nope, nope,
No,
no,
they don't
guns
like
are bad.
TSA. Guns are bad, yeah.
Yeah, it's like guns are bad.
Yeah. I mean,
Like
there are a
like
lot of
God.
how bad are these school shooting stuffs? Or like, well, obviously there's no school shootings because there's no school. Well, has school started? I think.
Yeah, school started, but like the
When's the
thing
last
about
mass
school
shooting?
shootings, it's
I know the mass
not
shooting. Mass
it's
shooting. Okay.
the thing about shootings is the news amplifies it. It's the same thing with people getting shot by the cops. People amplify it and make it seem like it's something that's happening every
I
day.
heard psychologists on the news saying this years ago, saying you are the problem, the media is the problem. Like, I am a psychologist, and I'm telling you right now that if you don't stop sensationalizing these murders, if you don't stop putting like a kill count up and a simulation of the event, then you're going to inspire more and more people to do this and create copycats. This is what we've observed from the data. And then the anchor or, the reporter will just be like, uh-huh, uh-huh. So on to the weather with John.
Mm.
Nothing ever gets
Yeah,
done.
like it just doesn't make sense.
They can have them telling them to their face that it's your industry that's at fault. You need to do something or you will be culpable. And they're like, that's crazy. Jamie, pull that up.
and it's like the thing about school shooters is I feel like for me personally, um, I feel like a lot of the school shootings, um, sometimes I feel like it's the actual like government, um, sort of engineering that shit, to move to do like an agenda. Sometimes I feel like, not to go like conspiracy theorists, but sometimes I feel like, like Sandy Hook and a lot of other shit was made to sort of further the agenda of taking guns away. Like if we create fear, then we can uh, create, like, if we can create a reason for people to have guns taken away from civilians, then they're all for it. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't think that like any of these events are like just made up. What I think is that
Oh, not
thing,
made up. I
thing
mean, like engineered.
things
Like
happen.
someone put
Oh,
someone
like
to
the
do it.
circumstances for
Like
it.
MK
They
Ultra
always,
shit.
they always facilitate it by just making the atmosphere of the country like tense through the media, and then these things do
Yeah.
just happen, and then they always take the opportunity to like, uh, just make it worse with the media, and then just be like, oh look at this poor guy, because it can be the media just like seeing there's a shooting, and then just going in and like recording some person that they've like vetted beforehand, and he's like, oh no, it was awful, and then the people come out in the news weeks later being like, oh, I was actually there at the shooting and none of that stuff happened, we've never seen this guy before. And it's like, who was that guy then? It was just some guy off the street. The news was like, hey, you want to
Yeah.
make $10? He's like, yeah, sure, well, what do you want?
What are they?
Right. Yeah. It's
It doesn't
absurd.
necessarily have to be sinister, other than obviously the profiteering of the media. There's always that, but like not in a completely conspiratorial way.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's just like that's
uh,
just me. Like I feel like a lot of the shootings are put in a way, and especially how the media delivers it as well. Like where you have like that one person that's always in every fucking news, like,
No,
hey, this
exactly.
person was
That's what
this
I'm
one
saying.
or
And
that
so
person was
they'll be
killed.
like, oh, hey, yeah, cool. And then that person is just like, just around for the news to hire, and just be like, all right, so stand there because like you look so good in, because they just, if you read like their things, they don't care about actually representing the truth. They want to like represent the truth as they see it. So they don't see anything wrong with like getting to the scene of the crime late and being like, oh damn, we've missed the scoop. Well, just like get some person to read out lines as if they were here, and that will be the story, and let's wrap it up. And like they don't even see anything wrong with that, but obviously we as the viewer expect to see the truth unfiltered, represented. That's not what we get from these corporate news stations, but it is what we happen to get from a lot of independent new sort of journalists that are coming about, where they just pick up their smartphone, hit record, stream it straight to the internet. You're getting it live. You can't fake that. What are you gonna do? You can't fake something in real time. I mean, maybe in the
can I tell you,
future.
Sam? I'm actually on this website, guys. It's called Gun Violence Archive. It's just a bunch of mass shootings. Basically, I just did a little check just to see what was going on, just to see last shooting in America, and it said mass shootings in 2020. Because I was thinking there can't be anything like mad, crazy that's happened.
Well,
But
America's a big
I mean,
country.
I know. So this on the September 19th of September, got 14 people injured, 2 people.
Oh,
Actually, I'm looking at. I'm looking
was the
at.
Carl Rittenhouse thing a mass shooting? Even that, there's
Mm,
just people defending themselves in the streets in the riots, and there's
ooh.
people attacking others, and it's just going crazy. So yeah, there's been shootings recently, but
Crazy.
mass
You know, by
murderers,
the way,
I think mass murderers are taking a time out and just letting the
oh,
general chaos take over.
okay. I'm just looking at one of these charts. I love how some websites and platforms they just kind of picture things and picture it in ways that just really stimulate that fear of
Yep,
being like, oh, damn. And
yep.
again, exactly what you're saying is how it's portrayed. And people have agendas. There's always these there's subliminal messages that they're always trying to kind of like do after an event, like during an event, even then. I don't know. Can you say that stuff happens before an event? Because people always know that something's gonna happen, I reckon,
Hmm.
in an area. I don't know. That can't be right. I don't mean like people are psychic or clairvoyant or anything. I
You
don't
can
know, but I
feel it in
just
the
feel like,
atmosphere, yeah.
yeah, when tensions are high, like, like was there Breonna Taylor just recently got her, like,
That
what's
case
it
was
called? Her
awful.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
that
law.
case.
She got a law. There was like a lot of things and everything, and people were like,
People are really angry. I feel like this is
You,
gonna be one of them times where
you know
tension
the
is gonna be very high.
you know
You know
the
what I mean?
politician Rand Paul,
Yeah.
Libertarian candidate. Do you know that he wrote the bill Justice for Breonna Taylor Act?
Oh, really? What's that? Oh.
Yeah, he basically wrote a bill to stop no-knock warrant searches, or no, I can't remember exactly the specific thing it's for, but it was the situation that caused the Breonna Taylor shooting.
Of course, yeah.
And
That's what I'm saying. I mean, they said that
the reason I bring that up
the
is all of these activists were just like being like, like why don't you speak out against Breonna Taylor, just as like one of their points that they say, and like against him because they just didn't know who he was, and they were just like, it's a
yeah,
politician.
they're like, do
Oh,
something.
justice for Breonna Taylor, and he turns around like, I literally wrote the bill, Justice for Breonna Taylor Act. What more could you want from me?
Yeah, that's someone that, and again, I think that's going to be one of the like the biggest tools that will be able
Yeah.
to be used against kind of like,
That's why I
making
appreciate the libertarians, because they're like the underdogs and they're always actually like getting like small things in that actually matter.
small things matter. The small things build up to one big kind of,
Yeah.
rolling effect. You know what I mean? I think once it has some traction, and again, it's one of them things like, beginning the Women's Right Acts, and then we got the Civil Rights Act, and we've got
Yeah.
the kind of like gay rights and stuff as well. Going like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? We literally progress step by step by step. Now we've actually got to the rights part. Now we're going into the actual proper specifics. I reckon the actual the minutia of it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
just to really kind of make sure. I think next generation or the generation afterwards, they're gonna be well, they're not gonna be done with racism, but they might have a better go at it because they're gonna be more integrated. They're gonna be more. They have more access to knowledge. Maybe have more access to our history to give them more kind of,
Here's how I see it. I don't think racism's ever going to go away, because if racism did go away, a lot of people are not going to have their jobs. Jane Elliott, she ain't gonna have a job. Sean King ain't gonna have a job. A lot of those clowns that you see, always, fighting against racism.
Mm.
Yeah,
You really
but
think they want racism to go away?
but like they can go away, like, can't they? They can just go away.
They can. I mean,
Oh
I
no,
feel like
you've pinned your whole career on whipping up racial division. Yeah, you could just go away. That's fine.
you, you you can go and like, protest for I don't know, for humans against aliens. That could happen one day.
Yes.
Prepare for that.
Or
We
shape
need to
laws
get
against
prepared
Harry
for
balls.
the man-robot wars.
Oh yeah, AI.
Yeah,
The singularity is gonna kill us anyway. So why
It's
are we even
gonna,
worrying about it? Like,
right? Like literally,
words matter.
no,
I am
literally, I
alive.
can't remember who said it, but someone said we're gonna be sitting around in like 2045 in like some nuclear bunker. A robot's gonna be knocking on the door, and we're gonna be arguing about what race it is or what gender it is, and it's just like gonna burst in and start machine gunning down everyone. There's certain situations where we
Human.
certain situations where we need to put down the political correctness and be like, no, you know what? It's bot scum and we need to destroy them. Be like, yeah, but they feel like us, and it's like, listen, they've been given a program and they're killing everything.
robots, guys. I mean, obviously, I don't think it'll be applicable anytime soon. But fucking carry around EMPs, innit? Electromagnetic pulses. We can just have
Exactly.
like develop that technology to just kind of focus the blast instead of like.
Now this is the kind of this is my kind of shit. This is the kind of thing I like to. Now, if we could get every Brit and America, I don't mind, everyone in the world equipped with a handheld EMP device and maybe a jar of like holy water or something. I don't know what else, like maybe a
Just in case
garlic.
for the vampire.
Yeah, for those vampire aliens we might encounter.
Pesky vampire aliens. Oh,
Like,
shake your fist.
like for real though, we should be getting ready for cosmic threats. Like, what happens if we just get slapped with an asteroid? What then?
I'll
Comet
tell you what,
attack.
The thing is,
I
if you're a
do
flat
agree with
earther, you believe. By the way, if you're a
Yeah,
flat
what
earther, you
happens if
believe
you're
that-
a flat earther and we get hit with an asteroid? Oh no, the whole thing tilts and we'll fall off. You should be worried.
just like a
Or it
plate.
flips, it spins.
Right. So
Oh,
So
was gonna
ads,
say
I've just sent you a article that's a very bad example of just how bad things have got in America with the division on both sides. So
Ooh,
this
yeah.
story is about a man. I'm gonna send you
Is it the one where the man was
Ah,
like, in
but-
his
but-
car?
see for yourself. I just sent it to you. So this was a man that was walking down the street, and the perpetrator gets out, walks up to him, says, "We got
Oh,
another one," and just shoots him in the head.
what?
And then he said, like, this man was obviously mentally ill, suffering some kind of paranoid delusions or something. But he said later in an interview with Vox or Vice, I believe,
Yeah. Oh,
they got
okay, I
an
know.
exclusive with him. And he was saying, "Oh yeah, I had to defend myself back there because they had me surrounded, and there were people in cars, and they were going to kill me, and so I had to defend myself, and so I used the minimum force necessary to get away, and then I ran away." And like literally, if you watch the video, there's no one around apart from him, and like he just walks straight up to a random guy minding his business in the street, shoots him in the head, and he's like, "We have another one." Because he was wearing a red cap. And then what happened afterwards? So the police were like, "Oh, so okay, there seems to be a murderer on the loose." They went to go and get him, like warrant for his arrest and whatever. So he comes out all guns blazing. He's like, "You won't ever take me alive! All cops are bastards!" And just starts to shoot out. They shoot him dead on the spot. And then they reach out for his sister for comment, the news, and she was like, "I am shocked, but I am surprised, but not upset by the news or something. Or I am upset but not surprised. I can't remember. Don't quote me on that." But she said that he had a history of mental health and he never was able to get the help that he needed, and that he'd always been, you know, in and out of trouble with the cops, and that he basically suffered paranoid schizophrenic delusions. And so because nothing was done about that, he ended up being whipped up into such a frenzy over the news that he just found a random man with a red hat minding his business walking down the road and just said, "Hey, you, we got another one," to just some person in the background, lifted up his arm, shot him in the face before he could even like do anything about it. And here's the
that's
key point: believed himself completely to be in the right afterwards. That's the level of division in America. They can shoot a
that's-
man dead for doing nothing, and they can be treated as a hero.
Or like the Black Lives Matter protesters that are going up to people who are having dinner at restaurants, you know, like the outdoor restaurants, and
Yeah.
forcing them to.
Have you seen that?
raise
There's
their fist
people just
against Black
eating
Lives Matter.
outside, and they came up like "Black Lives Matter," like other phrases or whatever. And one of them, like, it's just an old couple having like a meal, and some kid like vaults over the thing, like picks up their glass and downs it. They've all got felony charges now, and they're like, "What? We were just doing activism." Like, well, yeah, if
that's
you
not
start
activism.
fucking around with,
That's what they used to do to black people when they were in the, you know, like pour milkshakes on their head. You know, they're doing
And
the same
so-
shit.
So I
people
saw
used to do
one
back
of
in
the
the
most
60s.
disheartening statistics I've seen all year. So at the beginning of the year, Black Lives Matter had, I believe it was around 40% support, 41% support, or something like that. And then when the George Floyd, incident, let's call it, to be very centrist here, when everything happened surrounding that and the protests erupted, the support for Black Lives Matter just escalated. Like, it was a steady climb for like a decade or so, and then it just a spike, like it just goes straight up. And then over the course of several weeks, it just like steps zoned down, like one at a time. And now Black Lives Matter have actually lost more gains than they've gained this year from the George Floyd incident. When it was all peaceful protests and it was all like sit-ins and they were like candlelit vigils and everything, the support was climbing at an exponential rate. But then some fucking anarchist idiots, some commie bastards, I don't want to say anarchist because I lean anarchist myself, but like, not in the destructive way. Like, I'm not going to go smash some windows and be like, yeah, I'm making a difference. No, you're just putting their defenses up. You got to be smarter than that.
Yeah.
And now there are small business owners that have had their lives ruined. And I saw a quote the other day that made me go, oh damn, that kind of rings true. Someone just went, every smashed window is another vote for Trump. I was like, haha, yeah. No, wait. If you get your window smashed, you're hardly going to be voting for the guy that's supporting it.
Yeah, it's true.
Every window smashed, there's a person that owns that building thinking, why? I support you. What the fuck?
Exactly. Yeah, it's like, bro, you have a lot of people like it's like one of the women that was being harassed by the BLM protesters, and she's like, "What the fuck? I've marched with you guys, dude. Like, what the hell?"
Yeah. Or the black firefighter that was trying to start his own sports bar, and he was like a week away from starting it up. So they smashed up the place, raided it, and like went into the back and stole all of the money out of the safe. And he was like, my whole life, my life dream. Yeah, like, it's just awful. And then you've got these people like, oh, it doesn't matter, it's just property. Why do you care about property more than human lives? It's like, what about the human cost of losing all of that stuff? Like, there are people now that have lost everything. Some people have lost their lives as well, like you just mentioned. Like, it does have real human consequences. People are like, oh, what, you care about property instead of human lives? More than 30 people have died during the riots now.
Yeah, like life.
Is that? Am I allowed to be upset at the people that have been hurt, or am I just worried about property? Like, that's how they try to spin it.
The thing they never learn, and again, it's not even like it's.
I don't care if people loot corporations. Like, if people are going to take the opportunity to smash up a Target or a fucking Nike or whatever. I don't really care, but small business, there has to be standards. There has to be a limit. Don't go into the poor neighborhood and just burn down homes. Don't just burn down, like,
Quick thing, you said that, something I actually found out. There was actually gangs going around protecting shops and actual places of business that were actually kind of people were trying to actually like start things on there. And the things, different gangs would actually come together to actually kind of like, stop people from trying to, get more violent or actually trying to actually kind of keep with everything. Do you know what I mean?
And one of the best things I've seen about these events is the amount of racial unity, because you'll have like because usually gangs are pretty ethnic, but then they all come together for a common cause. And I saw one picture where it was like two black guys, two like boogaloo guys, like white guys, and like this Asian store owner standing in the background with like a rifle. And they were all just like helping protect, and they were like, we're all here to make sure nothing kicks off. And that was it.
There you go. The world working together. Ain't that beautiful?
And that's the sort of world we'd like to build.
There's different ways of killing people. Like if you ruin someone's job and they go into poverty and they end up, just dying in the streets, guess what? You might not have stabbed them or anything, but you still were a reason.
Well, do you know where the phrase to be fired comes from, you know, like from your job, if you were fired from your job.
Where does that come from, Sonny? I mean,
So
G.
it comes from, the idea is that being fired is the second worst thing that is possible to do to a person, and it's been applied in a colloquial sense to losing your job, because losing your job and your only source of income is pretty bad. So it's like being fired. But what is being fired? Being fired in the old sense is having your house burned down along with all of your things and your whole life inside it. So you don't have a crib to raise your little bubbas in, and you don't have a place to shelter your wife and child, and all of your memories are gone, and now you can no longer protect. Like, that is the other part of your life. It is everything that you've built up. So people that have lost their homes, it's a deep loss for them, of course. And I'm just making the point that it runs so deep in like the cultural sense that, oh yeah, if you lost your house, that's really fucking bad. Yeah, of course, that's almost like, you know, we'll even refer to it. It's its own special thing. Like, what's the worst thing that you could do to someone other than killing them? Because people weren't all that creative back then, so they weren't like, aha, we will bend their fingernails back. Like, torture wasn't really a thing that they were thinking about. So like, oh, you know, arson's pretty bad.
I think breaking someone's leg is, and breaking one leg and one hand is doing them dirty.
Oh, what's the worst thing you could do to someone? And you get someone like flicks a cigarette away and he's just like, you could kneecap him. It's like, all right, Jesus, mate.
That is the thing. If you're not trying to kill them, then I mean,
you could peel their skin off piece by piece.
You take away their ability to walk and their ability to like use their hand, one hand. Leave them with one. Obviously, we don't want to be too mean.
So,
don't want to kill. Don't want to actually kind of make them kill themselves. Anyways, that's real deep. Oh, that was deep. That was dark. I apologize. I'll take that back.
So we are nearing the end as well. We've got 7 minutes, just to give you a heads up.
What a thing for me to actually leave on. Oh goodness, I got to take that back.
Oh, you better redeem yourself in the next 7 minutes then. So you wanted to touch upon Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Do you feel that we've adequately done that, or did you want?
Well, I mean, to be honest, one last thing would be the next person that they elect, regardless of who it is, like the main points that they're gonna possibly kind of be big on. I mean, what do you reckon?
Okay, so to summarize everything that we've talked about, I believe that due to cultural things remaining the same or getting worse, and I don't mean like Black Lives Matter is like you know, black people want rights, so we better push back on it. That's not how modern conservatives see it. They're like, oh, there's riots, so we need someone that likes the policing. I think that there's going to be a lot of people that have sort of seen the riots and they don't really like it, are going to vote for Donald Trump. So I think they might try to push back the new appointment of the Supreme Court. However, I do believe that regardless of if they push it back or not, then Trump's going to be the next president for a second term. And then he's going to be like, okay, well, you've pushed it back to quote unquote the next president, and that's me. So can I put in the person that I said I wanted to nominate now? And they're going to be like, okay, fine. Like, they're going to have to go for it then. They're probably going to try to block it still, but I feel like Trump in his second term is going to take way less shit from the media. You know what I mean? Like, he spent 4 years being like, all right, you guys.
Fake news, you mean? Fake news.
It's like, fake news, that's bullshit. No, but...
We hate fake news, guys. We can't do with fake news.
So what is it at the moment? Is it 5-4? Because there's 9 Supreme Court judges. Is it? Well, I guess it's 3 and 5 at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's 3 Democrats, 5 Republicans. And so what they're saying actually is that if they get another Republican or a conservative, and some of the front runners are conservative women, I believe there's 2 conservative women vying for the spot.
Okay.
It seems like it would be a 3-6 majority split. Or I might be getting that wrong. Let me have a look. Supreme Court. Or it might just be going up to...
Nine Supreme
No,
Court
no,
members,
I believe that because it is already a Republican majority, and so it'd be a Republican supermajority of 3-5, 3-6, I believe.
That's so just I don't know.
And so
You
what
know
they're
what?
saying is they can just like repeal a bunch of decisions and like remake it in a Republican way.
Well, good luck, America. Wish you all the best. Look after my sister. Don't do nothing to her. I'll come for you if you do. Actually, I'm joking. Please don't take that as a threat, America.
Yeah, they're just gonna
completely
they're just
joking.
gonna drone strike you now. Sorry, Miss.
Yeah,
You need to apologize to the ghost of Obama past.
they probably activated my camera and are just watching me and just kind of just like, oh yeah,
Obama
we're
can suck
digging
a
up
dick.
all of the
Yeah,
history on this.
yeah, you know you fucked up when you're chatting shit about America and your webcam light starts blinking.
Hi there. Oh mate, I'm gonna have to pull at Edward Snowden, ain't I?
Yeah. Right, so on that note, everyone, we're going to have to wrap up the show and hop on our camper van and go to Russia, where we've got a safe house where we will be safe from the American government and their long, steely fingers.
And I'm going
have
to
we?
Somalia on my beach. Trust
That's
me, it'll
right.
be
I
amazing.
mean, you
So,
can just always go to Texas because Texas is close to Mexico, and if anything, you could always hop to Mexico.
Mexico. Ooh, I've never been to Mexico.
Mexico,
Yes.
Texas.
Oh, I want to go to Mexico. Okay, let's go Mexico. Mexico sounds more fun.
Can we just
Yeah,
go to
just
Panama
make
and
sure-
start an account and then hide in the account?
We can go to Costa Rica. I heard Costa Rica's a lot better.
So anyway,
Costa
You know,
Pepe, Pepe, you got 30 seconds. Final thoughts? Conclude.
Final thoughts?
Conclude everything we've talked about today. What do you think about the very near future in America with the election? Give us a prediction. We're going to hold you to it.
It's either it's just Trump's gonna win. It's gonna be 2016 all over again. You're gonna have a bunch of retarded ass crybabies, you know, tumblerinas like, I'm gonna kill myself. Oh, this is fascism. Oh. And I'm gonna ride the wave like I've always have, you know, for the
Yeah,
27
Pepe here
years of my
doesn't even
life.
care. He's just like, I'm centre right. Why would I even care?
Yeah,
But-
it's like why?
But so, Ads, you've got about 30 seconds as well. How do you want to conclude the show?
well, I mean, you know, I honestly think, regardless of who goes into office, I feel like a lot of the legislation changes are going to happen in the next five years.
Yep.
Like, you know, maybe after the first year of his kind of exit of the office or whatever like that. I think by that point we will have a lot more. You know, I say this with a bit of pessimism, but a bit of optimism as well. Pessimistic optimism, let's call it. Like, I reckon things will get better, but things are going to get a bit worse, and then they're going to get better.
Yeah,
So
I think so too.
in total, I believe that we're going to make it one day. But at the same time, you know, it's going to be a struggle, man. But you know what? Let's go. Let's do this.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Let's
That's
get that bread.
Get that bread, feed it to those ducks. Right, so
Feed it to them geese.
on that note, it seems that we've just about run out of time. So thank you to both of my guests for a wonderful show, and we'll speak
Thanks
to
for
you.
having us.
You're welcome.
Speak to you all again soon. Wonderful audience. I'll be hanging out in chat in on the radio for a little bit. But other than that, talk to you later.